if you have a therapist you really, really trust, you can just be mom and dad, and the therapist can handle the kind of psychological exploration. Because for a lot of ROGD families, people end up feeling like they have to be not only the mom, not only the psychiatrist, but also the therapist and the confidant and the friend and the counselor. I mean, it's so many roles for a parent to juggle. So this is not true for everybody, because most people are struggling to find a therapist. But if you're one of those parents that has a good therapist in your corner, that's such a relief, because you don't have to have all these gender conversations with your kid. And in fact, I often recommend not to have too many gender conversations with your kid, except for like at certain points and under certain circumstances. And I'll also say, as I consult with parents, I continue to be sometimes surprised by the stories I hear and the things that parents say or do that encourage desistance in kids. So I say that because there's no formula to this, and everybody has to trust their parental intuition about what's going to be effective for your child and what you need to say for your child. And so, I mention that because parents will often come here and say like, well, what do I do? What do I do? And I've tried to share best practices that I clinically intuit are the best kind of step forward based on each family's circumstance. But I also don't know you and your family. And so sometimes I talk to parents who just had a gut instinct about something to try, and it might have been something that I wouldn't typically recommend, but it works, and it brings them closer to their child or helps their child kind of get out of a tricky situation. So I always want parents to defer to their own instincts. That being said, instinct is not necessarily the same thing as terror. Because if you're a parent in terror, you might be making decisions that are completely unhelpful, and they're just based on your own panic. So that's why I always recommend for parents to really slow down with themselves first and process what they're going through, and find other support with other ROGD families or support groups, like for example the Gender Dysphoria Support Network run by Stella O'Malley. It's very important to have your own support so that you can actually find your intuition rather than just being driven by your panic or your fear or just trying to like make everything stop right away.